outlook for the sector stocks? What are the best bets here? We do have MB Mahesh, who joins in from the sidelines of the Kotak Institutional Equities Chasing Growth 2026 conference. MB Mahesh, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. The obvious question, if you look at financials and the banks, how does one put their money in the pecking order, whether it's large private banks, small private banks, or you look at the PSU banks, you look at NBFCs, you look at capital market plays. If one had 100 rupees, how would you distribute that among the various plays that there are in the financial space?
Okay. Hey, hi, good morning. Okay, I may not be able to give you a full answer to this question because I primarily look at the bank side. But as you highlighted, there is a lot of options available on the table for investors. And we see actually across the board, whether it is banks or you look at the NBFCs, the insurance companies or the capital markets, nearly all sides of the business are kind of doing well. So we kind of place our risks appropriately when we are kind of giving investors some ideas on this space. Right now, at least when we look at banks as a specific area, when we break down between the public sector banks as well as the private banks, at least in large caps, we do have strong ideas coming in from ICICI Bank and Axis Bank. In the public sector banks, we like players like a State Bank of India, a Bank of Baroda, and a Union Bank. We also have in the mid-tier banks players like Federal Bank, and also in some of the players like in the small finance banks. You have enough opportunities on the table. Each of these opportunities presents different investment thesis on the ground. So depending on the risk appetite an investor has, you do have a variety of choices available on the table, at least at this particular point in time.
Mahesh, the other trade that is emerging right now is the outperformance of the PSU banks compared to its larger private peers. With private peers still being expensive on the valuation front, PSU banks, despite the outperformance, are still fairly okay. Would you still look at these smaller PSU banks as a segment, or would you choose to be with the largest lender of the country, which also happens to be the largest bank in the sector?
You do have a combination of all, right? At any given point of time, you're not going to place your bets on a single bank or just a few set of banks. And you do have options on the table wherein even the mid-tier public sector banks are doing reasonably well. So when you look at the return ratios that they are delivering today, you look at the growth rates that they are presenting on the balance sheet, it is almost at par with some of the frontline private sector banks. You're getting growth at about anywhere between 13 to 15%. You're still seeing credit cost hitting newer lows. The net NPL numbers still in extremely good condition. So we do offer investors ideas even in the public sector banks, despite a reasonably good outperformance that you have seen in recent times. But we are also mindful of the fact that when we look at the valuation multiples across the last, let's say, a year or so, there has been a significant convergence in the multiples than what it used to be about, let's say, about a year or 2 years back. And we kind of acknowledge the fact that there has been significant improvement from public sector banks, and to that extent, a higher multiple expected also is a desired outcome.
Right. Of the recent events that took place at Bandhan, and then because of that there was AU Small Finance Bank as well, or rather IDFC First Bank, and then there was AU Small Finance Bank as well. Would that cause a bit of a worry to your call if you cover the stock?
Okay, we do not cover IDFC at our place as yet, so we've not had a detailed conversation with the management, at least on this issue. But having said that, these kind of operational risks do emerge in banks from time to time. And if there is a lapse from a bank on this specific case or in such instances, you do expect the bank to kind of make good to the underlying customer, and you kind of take the subsequent course of actions and then see where the mistakes have happened out here. But having said that, is this causing a source of concern with investors? At least at this point of time, the answer is no. we do have seen instances in the past. So you kind of take this that the organizations kind of take corrective actions and move forward. So it is, if you ask us, is it a source of serious concern? At this point of time, we would want to kind of believe that the answer is no, at least on this issue.
Mahesh, thank you for sparing time and joining us today with your views on the banking sector there. Take a short break, focus on the bond markets on the other side with Manisha Gupta.